Hello, hello, how are you? This is FYS 101, and this presentation is specific to the introduction regarding the course, how the course works, some of the grading policies, where to source some information, how the layout actually works, and also just some of my thoughts regarding grading, etc. Now, on this first slide is my email address. I just want to point out, and you'll have this also in Blackboard under instructor information. Just realize my last name is Fleischer, and the college, for whatever reason, the number of characters they have in their email addresses cuts off my last digit of my last name or last initial of my last name. So I'm A. Fleisch in email, but actually my last name is Fleischer. Now, as I noted a little bit earlier, we're looking at the structure of the course, the syllabi, the layout, the Blackboard, schedule, assignments, and grades. Those are kind of the main things you have to really have to wrap yourself around. This presentation is just kind of navigational. You will have other presentations in this course that will be specific to the syllabus, specific to the layout, and those will be found in one of the tabs on the left-hand side under syllabi and course layout. And then assignment, schedules, grade, how it all kind of maps out. So when you look at our course, and you'll see this in the presentation specific to the syllabi, you have these different functional areas within the course, and we're looking at how they break down. The beginning course writing assignment, the 3 passport assignments, the focus 2 assignments, of which there are 6 of them, post and reply, and these are all going to be on Blackboard. They are all going to be submitted on Blackboard, as well as completed on Blackboard and graded on Blackboard. So you'll never, ever have to actually submit any kind of paper in this class. The total points for the class will break down to 285 with a 5 credit extra credit in there. Let me get myself out of the way here. And the syllabi itself, I just want to point this out, and we'll get into this when we get into the syllabi, but it really gives you a broad intention of what the course holds and what we as instructors are trying to teach. It gives you guys an idea of the requirements, and really it creates this relationship, and it's a binding agreement, if you will, between us, the instructors, the university, and the students. So there's kind of a 3-way agreement here that happens with the syllabi. Here's what we're going to present as instructors, here's what you need to do as a student, and here's how you'll get your grade at Harper College. And it's really the roadmap or the ways to your academic promised land. And I can't stress that enough, because if an instructor finds it important enough to put on a syllabus and jam it into a course, and by goodness, you got to jump on top of that. So I put this up here. I'll let you guys kind of read through this, but to sign up for the course, you had to read through what this course actually entails. And really, it's a how to survive in college, where the heck things are in college, where to find them on the Harper campus. So hopefully when you get to your next stop, you'll be able to find them elsewhere, the services that are available to you, and then also just to touch on some different functional areas within things like the Focus 2, so you get a better idea of what it is you're looking to do for a career. And if that makes sense to you at this point, maybe open up and explore other options. It's by no means designed to have you totally divert your path from where you are right now, but just maybe in some cases reinforce. In some other cases, it allows the student to really get a grasp on what they're doing and kind of embrace that. For others, it becomes, well, I didn't realize that these were other professions. So it gives people the ability to see and explore different areas in their chosen profession. So again, with the syllabi, this is a cut and paste directly from the syllabi, and we'll go over this in the syllabus itself, but I just want to reiterate these here because they are important, in terms of we're looking to have you create a plan. We're looking to have different behaviors within this class that are appropriate for a college level student. And I want you to be able to source out and utilize these different services on campus. That is part of this class. So the syllabus itself, you have this kind of general information regarding the instructor, general information regarding the course. It provides a roadmap of exactly what you need to do to get to the academic promised land. I always jokingly say that, but it's true. And as a result, if you do X, you're going to get Y grade. They are directly related, and that is all in that document. And there's a reason why we all go through it as instructors with our students. So with the point breakdown, here's how it is, right? You get this many points, you're going to get this grade. You get this many points, you're going to get this grade. And I have to admit, with this class, I am very, very liberal in my grading. What you need to do as a student is make sure you do the assignments, make sure you do them at college level work, and make sure you submit them on time. If you do those 3 things in this class, you will pass this class, and not only pass it, but do very well in this class. So to that end, guys, how to get on A train? You need 256 points. And I hate to say it, when you look back at that pie chart, sometimes you have to allocate your time. You're in college and maybe you have time constraints with other classes as well, and you may have to make concessions somewhere, but this allows you to hopefully strategize a little bit on what you're trying to accomplish. So, and I speak about this in every single class I teach. I teach over in the kinesiology department, so I teach a number of courses over there, and I teach FYS as well. And what I want to get across to all my students is this. You get into a college, whether it's Northwestern, U of I, UIC, Southern Illinois, whatever college, Stanford, you have to pay for your classes, you have to pay tuition, but you also have this academic equity. And at this stage of the career, sometimes it's kind of difficult to really see that and wrap yourself around this concept, but kind of work with me on this. Every single assignment is like nickels and dimes and quarters towards your academic equity. Just like you're saving money, you're putting it in your bank account, and you have this financial equity that you have that you're using to pay for your tuition. Academic equity serves that purpose as well. And in some cases, depending on how well you do and if there's a scholarship available, academic equity immediately translates into financial equity because you can get a scholarship based on your grades. So I urge you to, if nothing else, submit something, whether it's my class or one of your other courses. You submit something and put some work down on paper and submit it through Blackboard, you get a couple points. It might be just enough. And I can't tell you how many times I've had a class where I've had somebody who is at that 256.5 and they end up getting an A, and had they not done their last assignment, they would have got a B. So again, you're in your classes, get the rake out and rake up those nickels and dimes and quarters and every dang penny you can get and every point that you can get to add to your academic equity. It adds up, and it adds up towards a much bigger picture and a much bigger picture goal, that being able to get into other schools. So this is just kind of a philosophical question, right? If you look at this course, if you look at what I teach specifically, kinesiology, and you look at your English 101 professor, and you look at perhaps your other instructors where you might be looking at math or your sciences or your art professor, what do they all have in common? Well, the first is we all teach at Harper. Okay, got that, great. But you got to understand that we all teach courses in a functional area that we are skilled in and very adept in. And we have a certain amount of passion for these topics. So when I say this in terms of, when you look at like what we are as a college is a pocket of intellectual capital. And that intellectual capital is people who are passionate about math, people who love trigonometry, people who love business, people who love kinesiology and the movement sciences like I do, and I enjoy business as well as kinesiology almost equally as much. I have an MBA as well as a master's, so I play both sides of the fence on there. But you got to understand that when your instructor knows that they only have 16 weeks or 17 weeks of content to be able to deliver what it is they have up in their head and put it out into a class, if it's in a syllabus and it's in your class, believe me when I tell you it's important, and it's important enough that your instructor believes it's important enough to put it in that class. You need to own that, because that is the key to this whole process. We don't just throw stuff out there because we think it's just a filler and a waste of time. It is difficult to take what goes on inside each of our heads and smush it down into a course and have it be relevant, relative, and valid to that course. So, you have to look at this and go, all right, if my English professor wants me to write about this, or wants me to write a certain way, or wants me to write in a certain style, it's with purpose. If my math professor wants me to do these types of assignments and these questions, it's with purpose. And you have to really figure out what that purpose is, because then what you can do is take exactly what they want from you and deliver it and get that grade. That's what you're after, is being able to deliver exactly what they want in that syllabus or assignments and get the grade. And really, I want you to take a moment and kind of drink that in, right? Because as you're going through this course, now this is the second 8-week course, you're kind of running through this and you're looking at instructors, and you have a class that's probably thinned out a little bit, or maybe your Zoom meetings aren't as populated as they once were, or even, if we go back into the classroom, you might have less and less students, right? And your instructors are still there. Your instructors are still delivering content, and they're delivering content that is very specific to what they want you to learn. And it is specific to the course. So to understand that relationship is kind of key to being successful in college, and being able to really through the syllabus as instructors to articulate what we want from you is pretty crucial. And if you have questions on that, you have every right to ask your instructor. If you don't understand something, you have every right to ask them what the deal is. And I stress that because, with your instructors so often, we're all pretty, and I say this humbly, we're all pretty freaky smart, right? In our little functional areas, whether it's my silo in terms of exercise science or math or English. I had a professor in college, English 102, Dr. Burrows, literally went to London. He took a sabbatical to walk the same path as Charles Dickens, to go and drink in the same pubs where Dickens sat and wrote some of his literary works. And he also went and did the same kind of like self-guided tours around London for other authors. And believe me when I tell you, people are nutty about their chosen professions and what we like to do. I took a vacation and went down to the University of Tennessee to go visit my mentor. We ended up coaching all weekend. We were coaching athletes all weekend because he's a strength and conditioning coach. So, we are all very, very freaky smart in our little functional area. And sometimes it's difficult to break things down in a simple manner, right? We have seminars on this. We literally went to an entire weekend seminar on how we simplify things for our students to be able to articulate what it is we want so the students can actually understand us better. So sometimes it takes a couple whats or whys. Why is it this way? Why is it this way? Why is it this way? It's like talking with a 3-year-old. I hate to say it like we're a bunch of people with doctorates and master's degrees who have to talk like a 3-year-old, but sometimes you have to get to the third or fourth what or why to get to your answer. So in some regards, and you may have to articulate this to instructors, look, I'm looking for you to please simplify something for me, not so much just clarify. And there's a difference between those two. And when you start talking with some instructors, they may have difficulty actually wrapping themselves around it. So the biggie for this class is this. When you go ahead and we look at the syllabi presentation, review that information. If you have questions, ask, and I'll reinforce this in that presentation. With your other instructors, same thing. If you're in kind of this funky little trough of sorrow in the middle of the term, reach out to your instructors, find out where you are, see how you're doing in your courses, be able to course correct if you need to, maybe even go back and review the syllabi for each of those courses to really wrap yourself around what it is your instructors want. And, in this kind of survival guide class that we have here in FYS, these are the little applets of assistance that I try to get across to the students. Whatever assignment it is, even if it seems completely hopeless, like you can't get it done, try to do a little something for your other courses. Those extra little points might add up. It might be the difference between a C and a B. It might be the difference between a B and an A, which could equate to the difference between you getting or not getting a scholarship, say to go to Northwestern or U of I. So stay on top of your stuff. Be on the lookout for another presentation. You guys have a good one. I'm signing off.